Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme: Scott Gemmell will take over as Scotland under-21 coach as Ricky Spragia steps down. Former Rangers defender Majid Beguera could be on his way to Kilmarnock, and the former Rangers manager Ali McCoist says it could take 2 to 3 years for Mark Warburton to get Rangers back where they belong. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted to say our boot-room guest is Clyde assistant coach and former Rangers defender Bob Malcolm, as we get ever closer to that Old Firm game coming up on Saturday. We will get Bob's take on his memories of Old Firm encounters and, of course, look at Clyde's chances of winning that division. I've tipped them, Ruffy. Let's hope that's not the jinx.
No, well, the last time we had Barry in, you know, he was telling us he identified the kind of players he needed to get out each division. I'm sure he's went up a notch in this one as well, because when you go on a winning run and getting promotion, you want to keep it going. So I think they've got a good chance this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, that league last season, Bob, was so tight, top and bottom.
Definitely. I think if you go the season before that, Albion Rovers won the league. They had the best defensive record. I think it's going to be the same this year. The team with the best defensive record will probably win the league, because you see every week there's always goals. Last week there was 28 goals or something in the league. So the attacking teams are always, especially us for Cowdenbeath, teams like that are always going to try and attack. So it's the teams that are going to have the best defence that will win.
Okay, and I'm now going to ask you the obvious question: how's your defence looking?
We've got a new defence. We've brought in a full new back four. We lost big Matt McLaughlin at the end of last season, so he's been a bit of a loss for his experience. But they're doing okay. There's some mistakes and stuff coming along the way, but we'll get there. We're working with it. We're working every Tuesday, Thursday to make them better, so hopefully it'll start clicking into place soon.
Yeah, what's been the toughest part? Because it seems like only yesterday, you know, I remember you breaking into the Rangers side, and now all these years on, there's you alongside Barry in the dugout. Has there been a moment where you've thought to yourself, I can remember, you know, my manager saying that to me, and suddenly I'm here alongside Barry going through that same learning curve?
It's a bit different. Obviously, we're part-time, so we only get 4 hours a week to work on the boys. But still try and do the same thing, still do the same sort of sessions and stuff. Try and keep it as simple as possible. We know that doing the coaching badges and stuff, that players' attention spans are not very long, so try and do it as short and sharp as possible so that they can take it on board.
Yeah, as it goes on in life, the attention span of a former player, doesn't change. Ruffy, would you agree with that?
What was the question?
As far as the league's concerned, I mean, you've talked about the fact that you've obviously got to try and keep things tight at the back. What is the ambition? Do you think you can win it? And if you do, is there a specific team that you think is going to be your main challenger?
Yeah, I think we can definitely win it. I think over the last 2 years we've got the experience now. We've known what we need, what we think we need in this league. We think we've got it this season. As I say, it's just going forward we look good. It's just if we can tighten up at the back, then I think there'll not be many teams, especially coming to Broadwood, who'll enjoy playing us there.
And as I mentioned only moments ago, all those years ago, seeing you as a fresh-faced youngster in that Rangers team, do you remember your Old Firm debut?
I do, yeah. It was Hampden, Scottish Cup. I think we get beat 2-1, or 2-0, I think, 2-0. When Henrik Larsson pushed me in the back. But as experience, it was brilliant. For my first game, thought I did all right.
I read this morning in the paper, it was an ex-player that had said that the league games are more intense than cup games. I couldn't get my head around that one.
I don't know what it is. It's just Hampden, you feel so far away from the pitch. When I actually walked onto the pitch, I couldn't hear anything. Everybody thinks what's the atmosphere like, but you're not thinking about that. You're thinking you're concentrating on the game. Even when you go to Parkhead and Ibrox in the league games, people that say, "Oh, the atmosphere's brilliant," you don't take it in until after watching it on the TV, then you might go, "Oh, brilliant." But you honestly don't. Coming out and going onto the pitch, you don't hear anything. It's like it's a blur.
Yeah, and with that in mind, a number of players, we've been speaking to, everyone has practically put themselves up this week to talk about the Old Firm game. Ian Durrant, you know, just saying that you've got to try and, you know, get into the game, force your way into the game, get a touch on the ball, get a tackle in there, just do something just to make sure you feel a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. He's 100% right. I think when I used to go into the games, I always used to first tackle, used to set my tone for the game. If I never won it, then I felt as if I wasn't going to have a great game. If I put in a good tackle, then I got myself was right up for it. And it wasn't just an Old Firm game, that was most games. But I think people are different. They like to get their first pass in, obviously a shot at goal for striker. Just different people like different things, but I think the most important is that you don't lose a goal early on, and then you're on the back foot for the rest of the game.
Yeah, how are you viewing this one, Bob? Everybody's had their comments on it. I mean, Ali McCoist today, you know, he's talking about his time as Rangers manager, which was, you know, troubled to say the least off the park. I don't think I ever went into a press conference where Ali McCoist actually talked about football. But on his viewpoint on Mark Warburton, he still thinks 2 to 3 years before Rangers are able to get the financial clout and the strength where they should be. And suddenly yesterday, Ian Durrant says that he reckons, you know, it's going to be difficult for Rangers or anyone else to stop Celtic getting 10 in a row.
Yeah, I think Coist is obviously, he's got the experience, so he knows about what he's talking about, especially in the Old Firm. Whether it takes 2 or 3 years, I don't know. I think they can compete with Celtic in Old Firm games, but whether they can over the season, then that's a different question. Celtic's got a massive squad. But if Rangers keep their players fit, then you never know if they can go on a run of games. Obviously, Saturday's going to be a big one. If they can get that, then it sets them up for the rest of up until the next Old Firm game.
Yeah, I mean, in a strange sort of way, everyone that we've been chatting to, Ruffy, we're talking about the psychological advantage of winning the first one. Mm-hmm. And when you're reading back pages of newspapers, there's a general view that Celtic, in contrast to when Bob was playing, Celtic have the spending power that's, you know, far outweighs what Rangers have to offer.
I think that's the point that Ali's possibly trying to make. I mean, year on year, Rangers will improve. They've already done that this year, but it just remains to be seen year on year how much Celtic improve. I think at this moment in time, Celtic have the big bucks, you know, and the Rangers supporters are still actively waiting there, saying, well, if Celtic keep spending, are we going to spend? You know, what kind of quality of player are we going to bring in? But we just have to wait and see, because if Rangers go into the game and win, you know, they'll say, well, why do we need to spend? We've just won at Parkhead. So that all that psychological stuff comes in. You know, sometimes when people win games, they sort of take a step back, and the Celtic will do it as well. You know, if they win, they'll say, well, maybe we don't need to spend any more, so we're so far in front. So it works both ways. So that's why I think the result is really, really important.
Yeah, I think the most pertinent point that I've read concerning this is quite simply, as you know, winning and losing an Old Firm game, suddenly the pressure, you know, it's turned up a good 3 or 4 notches. If Mark Warburton was worrying about, you know, the pressurised job that is the Rangers manager, he's about to find out on Sunday morning, you know, if he wins it, he's the king. If he loses it, suddenly people ask questions of not only him, but the Rangers fans, I think, will look and say to Dave King, how are you going to address this?
Yeah, I know that's a big problem. I think even with 2 draws that Rangers have had already, there's been a bit of pressure put on Mark Warburton with his tactics and stuff. Obviously, if they won on Saturday, then that goes out the window and everybody's giving him a pat on the back. But if he doesn't win, then the nice will be out for the fans, you know, and that can go on for a good bit. We've experienced that as well at Rangers. We've went on runs where it's getting beat off Dundee and stuff like that, and then going into the games against Celtic going, oh, what's the score going to be here? And then you end up winning a game, you win them, and then Everton disappears for the next couple of weeks. And that's just how the Old Firm game is. It's crazy.
Yeah. How do you see it going?
I don't know. I think Rangers have got a better squad this season, but I just think they lack that. But the Old Firm game, the last game, the cup game, I think Rangers were fast, sharp. I don't think they've got that this season. They're missing a few players that have got that, and I don't think, obviously, you'll be looking for the experience of Joy Barton to step in and hopefully has a good game, as he's done a bit of talk before the season started. So
Yep, you've got to back it up. That's what Alan Thompson mentioned yesterday, time to do the talking on the pitch. You can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. We'll read out some of your messages as the week progresses. Don't forget, the Old Firm game will form part of our discussions on the Saturday show. We'll keep you right up to date with all the goals across all 4 divisions of Scotland, STV Glasgow and STV Edinburgh. It all kicks off at 2 o'clock. More from Bob Malcolm. We're going to talk Scotland under-21s coming up after the break. Join us if you can. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Our Bootroom guest is Clyde assistant coach Bob Malcolm. We'll switch our attentions now to the change at under-21 level, Ruffy. Scott Gemmell taking over from Ricky Sprazia after that defeat in Ukraine by 4-0. I think Ricky thought enough was enough, and suddenly Scott Gemmell gets the step up.
Yeah, I think Ricky possibly is a better coach than being up front. You know, as a manager, you know, I think they obviously see the benefit of him, you know, coaching the kids further down the line. But from the footballing point of view, it's a wee bit of a worrying situation that the creamier young under-21s are getting beat by Macedonia and getting heavily beat by Ukraine. You know, for the future looking on, you know, it's something we have to, you know, sort out, you know, because the crop of players that were playing in that game the other night there were quality players. So it just looks as if the other countries are so far ahead of us just now.
I mean, that's the one thing that you look for, Bob, is players coming through from each level. Ruffy was mentioning, and you know, that he played through to under-23 and a whole batch of quality players made the step up. But if suddenly you're looking at under-21s are not doing it, there's worrying times ahead. You're thinking, where's the next batch of talent coming from?
Yeah, that's all these big clubs are taking all the kids and they can't seem to get a game. They can't break through into the first teams. You see Chelsea letting like 26 players go on loan, and they're all on about 20, 21, 22. It's hard. I don't know the way around it. Especially Scotland we need our young kids coming through so they can play, but make our teams better, but make the national team better as well.
Here's a question interesting to ask yourself. You, I think in Barry, did you do your badges in Northern Ireland?
Yeah.
You know, when you were coming through as a youngster and getting coached, did you see a drastic difference from the way you were coached as a youngster coming through and what you were being taught as a coach on the badge that you were going through?
Yeah, I think when you're getting coached, I think it's a generational thing. It's different things. Obviously, growing up with Bomber and John McGregor, they've obviously been taught a different way. And when we did our coaching badges, it's obviously came on 10 years more the way you speak to players and putting on sessions that's more game related and stuff. But I think it's definitely a generational thing, and obviously what different coaching coming from different countries, and they bring different things. But as Ruffy pointed out, I think the form teams now used to be Scotland were one of the best, but now teams seem to be taking over even smaller countries like Macedonia.
Yeah, another thing about it, Ruffy, you know, as we suffer one setback after another, we tend to go through what I think is an incredible knee-jerk reaction. There must be a plan somewhere else that we've got to embrace.
Yeah, well, I think at the moment, you know, we're all focused on the national team. You know, although I brought up the point that we've lost these 2 games, I think the main thing for us now is concentrating on the national side. And if we can get 1 or 2 players like the boy Burke breaking through, that's always a bonus for Gordon Strachan's point of view. But I just always feel there's a gap. There's a massive gap there for that leap for under-21 right into that full squad. And it's only really, really good players that are going to make it, and Bob's touched on it. You know, if you're not going to game in your own first team, what chance have you got to go away with the national side and try and impress and coming against top quality players for France and Italy at that age group when you're not even playing at a top level?
And as far as the main squad is concerned, because we obviously want to deal with the here and now, Robert Snodgrass has mentioned that he reckons that we're in a good place, that this campaign in his mind could be the one where we really are able to deliver.
Yeah, I think we can. I think what Gordon's trying to do is he's trying to create an identity for the Scottish game. Over the past years, even like in Australia and stuff, they play the Dutch way. Scotland plays on the Dutch. They need to play the way we can play, the best of what we've got. And I think on Sunday they did that. They played the way that, for that squad, that they can play in, and they end up strolling the game.
He's a key player for us as well, though. I mean, when we're starting to look, and we're hoping that Oliver Burt comes through and develops Ruffy. Snodgrass, for me, is somebody that I think we should be building the team around in the middle of the park.
Yeah, but unfortunately he's going to, well, I think he'll play wide more than anything else, him wide and Richie wide on the other side. It'd be great if we could get a striker who's going into games with confidence. It'd be great if we could find a system we could play 2 strikers, which would make it a bit easier. But no, I think the boys with the confidence of that win there, OK, we've got to forget about the first 45 minutes because, as Gordon Strachan said himself, it was a bit of a nightmare, you know. But you've got over the hurdle, everybody was looking for us to slip up. So I think the next game is just as crucial, you know, if we could get 6 points there. And obviously with the 2 away games coming up, you know, we just need to keep, if we can carry more luck that we carried in Malta, all the best, you know, all the better. And I think it's just momentum. I said, you know, Gordon was saying, oh, 1-0, 2-0. I said 4 and 5 goals puts out a statement. You know, everybody's not going to have seen that game and the goals that we got and the circumstances that happened that we got the goals. They're just going to pick up a paper and see Scotland 5, Malta 1. You know, and that is, for the other teams, an intent, you know, that this team can score goals.
Okay, couple other little stories coming out today that I wanted to get your thoughts on, guys. Majid Beguera could be going to Kilmarnock, and it links in nicely, obviously, to the back of Lee Clark as well. He's brought in a whole host of players. It's difficult, as you know, getting players two nights a week, Bob. But suddenly, you know, Lee Clark's brought in all these different players, hoping they can all gel. And again, here's another one that could be on his way to him. But I think Beguera's experience could be a major bonus if they land him.
Oh, it could be massive. That could be the difference between them staying up and fighting for relegation. I think if they could get them, it'd be brilliant for them. We played them the League Cup earlier in the season, and no disrespect to Kilmarnock, but we should have beat them. We missed a penalty with 10-15 minutes to go, and then but with a better team, and like speaking to the coaching staff in the change room, in the room after it, I was thinking to myself, if they don't get something sorted, they could be in trouble this season. And the big man coming back could be the thing for them. Yeah,
the other key here is, and it won't go away, Robbie, is, you know, Lee Clark coming out and saying he's not for quitting, he's going to tough it out. You know, I always say there's no smoke without fire. This one just keeps coming back week after week, game after game. He's got to win the one against Dundee on Saturday.
Yeah, I think everybody's actively looking at Kilmarnock and going, are they the team that's going to be down there? But he'll be looking for positive results. He'll be looking to build on the Rangers game. Obviously, bringing a player like Beguera in there, we all know what his quality was like 4 years ago. One great player. And if he thinks he's fit enough and he can do a job, then he'll be a great asset at the back. But I think it's winning games with the teams that are round about them at the bottom that's the important thing for them.
And of course, well, on that point, you know, I think the biggest problem for Kilmarnock is not so much the coach has got to win games. That buys, you know, the fans' silence for a while. But I still think the boardroom is where the troubles lie, and you know that could come to a head very shortly.
Yeah, we've seen it all along down the line. You know, when there's uncertainty in the board, it just filters down to the fans. The fans are unhappy with what's happening. They want more of a say, you know, and then if you're not getting the results, obviously it all comes together, and generally it filters down into the players and you start getting bad results. So I think at board level, if there are things going on in the background, I think the sooner that they're fixed, the better. We
had the comments from Neil Doncaster yesterday about there should be colt teams in the lower leagues, Bob. That would affect you guys if you were still in League Two. Is that something you'd like to see, Celtic and Rangers, colt teams, and maybe Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts possibly?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen at some point, but I don't know. Everybody thinks because Rangers and Celtic or Aberdeen under-20s will come into the league or they'll win the league. I don't think you see over the Irn-Bru Cup that the teams were beaten. The 20s teams by big distances. It's boys against men, and really you've got seasoned pros playing in part-time teams coming up against kids. So, but you never know what you're going to get for the kids. These boys know that they need to go out and produce a performance for their team.
And just picking up on that point that Bob made there, I mean, apart from anything else, you know, a lot of players have mentioned time and time again, Ruffy, that kids getting the chance to play against men is the key, as well as obviously the financial advantages that everybody can see with some of the Colt teams that the fans would actually go and watch the games.
Yeah, no, I think the benefit you get is crowd as well. I know the crowds aren't going to be, you know, fantastic numbers, but they're certainly going to be better than what they're going to get at under 20. You know, so they'll get the experience of playing in front of people as well.
Okay, thanks to Bob Malcolm. We wish Bob and Barry the very best of luck in League Two. They've got a game at the weekend against Arbroath. Best of luck to you guys. Bob, thanks for joining us on the programme. Bob, obviously, as you can see, not happy that he hasn't got one of these football show T-shirts, but it's all about appearances. It's as simple as that. You get, what is it, 20 appearances and then you get a shirt?
Yeah, but we don't get a chance to start. Right.
Yeah, I cannot believe you've had a dig at him in the last minutes of the show.